Hey friends. So I didn't get my run up Sun Mountain this morning, which was, disappointing, but in exchange I got a couple extra hours of sleep, which, I'll take it when I can get it. And then proceeded to have a day here in Santa Fe where it was like from one thing to the next, I bounced. I'm hearing strange noises. Like it sounds like someone's digging a hole in the roof. I'm going to ignore that. I had a day where it was like from one thing to the next, I was getting these little gifts, these impressions, these moments. Like we went to the opening of an art museum, and I wind up talking to the founder of the place. I knew him. It wasn't totally random. I knew him. I saw him walk in, just kind of grabbed him at some point and said hello. But we ended up chatting for like almost 30 minutes probably. And this is a very successful businessman, sort of has done all kinds of really, really cool projects around town, sponsored a bunch of things that are really quite incredible, quite an incredible gift to the community here. And he ends up like chatting with me about, having ideas about whom I might contact for some new professional connections. He asks me for my resume. I was like, whoa. Like there's been this moment, there's been this struggle, I guess I'd call it, or a kind of like wrestling with the decision around whether or not to jump into this coaching program / business building thing. And I have this little inner voice, and my little inner voice has been saying, no, don't do it. The thing about this little inner voice is that by and large, it's pretty accurate. By and large, I should listen. But every once in a while, I feel like I, the sort of conscious ego is manipulating my own inner voice. So in other words, I might desire an outcome in a situation, and I feel like, my conscious mind starts to manipulate what I'm hearing from my subconscious, whether it's filtering it or just outright like forging the letter and sending it, as in like this is from your subconscious, but it's actually my conscious mind kind of trying to manipulate that exchange with my deeper subconscious. And so I've learned when I'm kind of unclear about something, I've learned just because that voice is saying something, don't necessarily listen. A good sign of when it's on target is when either I truly don't have an agenda and the same message keeps coming through, or there's a version of the decision or the thing that there is to be decided upon that I would kind of prefer, and consistently I get a negation of that. In other words, like my conscious mind is like, I want to pull this direction, and my subconscious keeps saying over and over, nope, don't do it. And then I kind of becomes like a speed bump in my ego's accelerating down the road it wants to go down. It's like it tries to start going down that road and then it hits a speed bump of my subconscious saying no, or of this little voice saying no. And that's kind of what I've been getting over the last couple of days. There was part of me that really wanted this to be the right thing, but I was getting the little voice, and I was listening to it. You know, I know better at this point. I mean, I if you haven't seen my previous couple of posts, I talked a little bit about like where I was and my history with this and what all factors into this moment of calculating what's really the right move here. And so I know enough to be kind of cautious, to walk carefully here. But then this day, so not only did I have this experience with the sort of founding funder of this brand new museum, we had our car break down on the way home, and it was like we're driving home, and then we realized a ways down the highway that Katie had forgotten her phone, her wallet, her purse, she can't proceed without it. We had to turn around. It wasn't like somebody was going to bring it to us. So and that was like, okay, well, there goes our evening. We're not gonna, now it's gonna be 30 minutes back, and then another 30 minutes back to where we were. We're gonna get home late. Well, we turn around and start driving back on the highway, and I get a low oil pressure light. And the low oil pressure light, this wasn't just like a gradual come on thing. This was like a very, very emergency type message that I've been told by a serviceman: if this happens, you have to immediately pull over, or else you will destroy your car. You have to immediately get off the road and shut the engine off. Well, I pulled off immediately. We happened to be right by an exit. I pulled down the exit, and once I'd pulled over, once I'd gotten us off the highway onto the exit, I realized this is the exit that I take to go to my service place. So of all the places in the state that this car could have done this to us, it was a mile, just over a mile, to the place I needed to have it towed to get it repaired. So I was like, okay, thanks. And now we're stuck here overnight. Stuck here. It could be worse. And both Katie and I were kind of feeling to ourselves like we'd really, we've both been having pangs towards Santa Fe over the last 24 hours since we've been here, which is kind of unusual. Usually when I come up here, I don't have a strong, pull. But something about this time was different. And something about the conversation I had with this museum guy. He's taking an interest in my work. He's taking an interest in the way that I, become acquainted with other creatives in the area. To the point of asking for my resume, I was like, this is crazy. While I'm in the midst of this kind of wrestling with this thing that I'm seeing as an easy answer, but I'm also getting this subconscious message. All of a sudden, I'm in a room with a guy who has a whole nother level of perspective on how a career moves. And I was like, okay. So even the setbacks, even the car breaking down, and even the being stuck here, all of a sudden started to feel like, wait, this is all right. This is all, and because most likely now tomorrow I'm going to get to run Sun Mountain, which, a little fringe benefit. But I just have a sense that I was being nudged in the direction of something that's much larger, much more aligned than what I've been wrestling with in terms of this like business building program. So I'm not going to do it. So here we go. Here we go. Let's step off that pattern for a little while and see what happens. That's where I'm at today, folks. I feel like this is a bit of an inarticulate post as far as like, you know, a lot of times I have higher principles that I can sense, and in this case I do too, but it's also very much like getting nudged by my intuition and then by circumstance, and then intuition and then circumstance, and then it feels like a dance that's starting to happen. And it's exciting. So that's where I'm at. I will keep you posted. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I will see you soon.